Hey, everybody. Welcome to Everything Philly Podcast, your platform for information and entertainment, as well as hitting some hard topics. I'm Sharice,
Laura.
and today we have two special guests. We have Dirk from Ivy Hill. Welcome, Dirk.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
And we have Todd, cousin, longtime friend, homie from the block, also from Concerned Black Men. Welcome, Todd.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And welcome, Sharice.
Welcome back.
Yes, I'm back. Been gone for a minute now. I'm back. Oh, there's a little pinhole. Excuse me.
We had a session last week without Sharice. I think it went better without Sharice than with Sharice.
I doubt it. I challenge all my viewers to add that comment in. Was it better with or without me? We'll see.
Just messing with you. Stop taking everything so personal. Jeez. Anyway, we spoke about Wadsworth. So we got so much feedback from that episode that we wanted to continue on with it because we want to get a little deeper with it. Because we're talking about things that we could do in the rec center. So now we brought a member of McCluskey Rec Center up here to talk and see how far we could go and what changes could be made. And we have my brother, he ain't my cousin, my brother, Todd, that's with another program that I think could be very helpful in our community. So I want to feed off of that and see how far we can go with what we're trying to do. So Dirk, you up first.
All right. What do you want to know? Just what's going on at the rec and well, basically, I am the president. Still, like I said, it still feels so funny to say that. President Ivy Hill Youth Association. That I played for ages ago. I'm also on the advisory council board of Dorothy Emanuel Rec Center. And that's, I think, where the rec piece comes in. It just gives me a really weird feeling, but a really awesome feeling that to take an organization with coaches and men that used to sort of in some ways raise me, and to run that program now and to sort of be able to have the opportunity to do it for other young men and young ladies coming up. It just feels really awesome, and it's really also pretty cool that I get to speak to actually one of my coaches who lives right across the street from the rec, Coach Barnes, often, and sort of bounce stuff off of him when he was running it and that sort of thing, and just bringing some of the older coaches back and all that sort of thing.
So what you think is going to take because you grew up in the community and you knew how it was when we was coming up, the love, respect, unity we had in McCluskey.
Yeah.
So what do you think is going to take? I'm not for sure if you actually watched last week's episode to see the things we was talking about, but I kind of filled you in on a lot of things.
Yep.
So what you think is going to take to bring that love, that unity back to the rec center?
I think what it's going to take, honestly, is responsible men. I think
Don't forget about our women.
Well, I mean, as far as for the young men that are having issues, is that most of them are just looking for a mentor. They're just looking for something or somebody and that sort of thing. And it's weird, sometimes I hear from even some of my buddies that they have kids and their kids don't play up at Ivy Hill. They may play somewhere else. They may play right down the street or other places. Or they may not even come and help, but it's just knowing how important Ivy Hill was in our lives, why they wouldn't want to sort of jump back and give other people the opportunity, just like they had. I mean, like literally, everybody remembers how the Fridays were up there. Everybody was up there Friday. People that did not have children were up there on Friday. Just your neighbors was up there.
You talking about for the games?
For the games. Even the basketball games. It was no problem. It was just so many people up there. And sort of speaking of that, one of the things that I did notice is the more sort of, especially when it comes to like the basketball court and stuff like that, the more males that are up there, the less stuff goes on the basketball court. Not even, they're not even a part of Ivy Hill. They just at the court. But the less stuff that happens at the court just because it's more men up there that they see. And speaking of the young ladies, like the program that Sharice had up there is that, and just before we started this, and I was saying how uh, one of the main things those young ladies missed that program. They absolutely missed that program. They just wandered the sidelines. Now, just sort of, we don't have cheer now because there's nobody to do the cheer, so they just wander in the sidelines.
Because they had someone to listen to. Uh, that one program that was going on in there. I don't know what else, but that's what I'm asking you. Like, you're more familiar with how the
Mhm.
rec is being ran, and it's like
Mhm.
to open that rec up, like full doors open, allowing the kids to come back in there and participate in different programs and participate in different sports, but just to even be heard. Like, what needs to be done so that rec could be a home away from home for our kids in the community?
I think that the piece is bodies is the one thing. Like the current rec leader Todd Callisto has been really like from day one. He said, this is your rec, this is your neighbor. If you want a program, let me know. Just I'll get the program. Or not, he'll get the program, but he will make the space available for us to have the program. He said, just let me know the program. But the problem is, if there's no one to run the programs, then it's not a program. And then what happens is that you have other organizations that come in, like they had a reveal party there the other week. They have all sorts of other things.
Just
They
to
had a
take up
pop-up
space.
shop last weekend just to take up the time because the one thing he says is you have first go at whatever the times are that you need. You got first go.
Okay.
But he said, I just want to make it accessible and keep it packed. So if somebody wants to have something, he says, usually he'll call me first. Like, hey, do y'all need the gym this day? I'm like, no, you can give it to him. We're not using it this day. Or do you need the computer room? Do you need the weight room or whatever it is? If we don't need it, like he really, and I have to honestly say that it's been better with him sort of running it. If we really need the time, that it's almost so free to us, but it's nobody to sort of run the program like um indoor soccer. You have indoor soccer, but nobody to run indoor soccer. T-ball. I run T-ball myself in between spring football. Like T-ball, then right after T-ball practice with the little guys, run over to the field because football is already practicing on the field on that other half of the field. So just people to run it. Like Young Legends is that there was one year Ivy Hill took over Young Legends. Skip was like, yeah, to take it over. But then there was no other, I'm not really a basketball person. There was nobody to run it. Yeah, it was. And we wanted to, and it was literally that first year, we basically made it like, it was like Young Legends Saints.
Okay.
And basically it just ran for 1 year because it was like my vice president, Dre, was a coach. One of the rec dudes was a coach. And I was kind of a coach, but I don't know, too much like coaching basketball. But then after that, when people couldn't do it, it was nothing else.
So if we come together and put a staff together, then we can have the schoolyard running full fledged and bring our community back together.
Let's do
'Cause I
it.
believe once we come together and the kids see that they have different opportunities, that we could come back reunited as Wadsworth again. Mr. Todd, what you have to say? 'Cause
Yeah, I
you come
mean-
up with programs all day.
Yeah. So Concerned Black Men, we have a building up in West Oak Lane, 72nd and Ogons, but it's nothing to bring programs to Dorothy Emanuel, where I grew
we were
up.
talking about a
Yeah,
program on the phone last
Exactly.
week.
Exactly, where I grew up. So where our whole thing is creating programs to educate, motivate, and build self-esteem within young men and women. We have workshops dealing with decision making, financial literacy, anything that build motivation and educate young people. That's what we kind of concentrate on. So what you did last week with your podcast was you brought some brothers together that is willing. And that's some of the problem right now with some of these organizations. People are not volunteering the way they used to. Now you have some guys that's willing to come in and volunteer, I think it's just a no-brainer to bring them programs right there to Dorothy Emanuel, so that these young people can have something to do.
So if you go back on your days of young, not say
Mhm.
you're old now, but you go back on your days of young, how important was the rec yard to you?
Oh man, it was extremely important. I mean, we played everything up there, from organized basketball to just playing basketball, whenever, to organized baseball to just playing baseball whenever. And then football, of course. When Mr. Rob ran a rec, we had a whole baseball team that, we traveled all over. Uh, we also had basketball leagues up there. So that's the carrot to bring the young people: football, basketball, baseball, the soccer. And it's no problem with recycling these young people. If you have a kid that's playing football, yes, they should be a part of the mentoring program up there also. If you have a kid playing basketball, yeah, they should be a part of financial literacy or how to, work cameras and things of that sort. So it's no problem with recycling the young people that's there, because just like I think it was Keith said last time, if you build a program, they'll come. And if they see other young guys or young girls participating in something, then they'll come.
Okay, I love that statement, but I'm asking you, far as character wise,
Hmm.
like what you learned from being
Oh,
inside the rec. Like, what made you? Did any of that help you become the man you are today?
without a doubt, without a doubt. Because we had men that actually cared. Like I said, Mr. Rob ran a whole baseball program by himself. And but he actually really cared. He used to call Ravon Motor, and we still call Ro Motor to this day. But just hearing him say Motor was like, it was like, he cared. He cared about us.
You paid
And that's
attention.
why he paid attention. He paid attention. And that's why I do what I do today. Is because, first starting off at home with my father. My father, greatest man in the world, to me. And he taught me and my brothers just how to be men, by example. But everyone don't have that example. Everyone doesn't have that example. And that's the reason why I do what I do today. Growing up seeing men like, my dad, Mr. Jerry, um, Mr. Amin, these the guys that molded and raised us to be who we are today. And that's why I do what I do today.
How about you, Dirk? Like
Yeah.
coming up in the schoolyard.
Oh my goodness. I would not. It's so ironic that, like, one of the main people that I look to and feed off of now running Ivy Hill was Coach Barnes, because um I was a short kid, fiery, always in trouble, and some of my fondest memories, honestly, like my father was a police officer, and before my mom and my dad separated, he was really barely there. My mother really, she wasn't a football person. She wouldn't come to games. She wouldn't come to pretty much any of the games. But um, Coach Barnes was like a father figure to me that wasn't there, and I don't think if I don't think I would be who I am without coaches like Coach Barnes. Like, I literally would get like 4 and 5 15-yard penalties. And I wasn't a loud, like, disrespectful kid, but I would get penalties all the time being a little dude. And he never was one that cursed at me, never was, never acted real crazy to me, anything like that. He was just always respectful. When he coached me, he was always respectful to me. And I just looked up to him so much that it was him that I wanted to please. I can remember us playing a championship game at Lincoln Field in the snow against the Wildcats. And my dad, nobody was there for me. And I remember being so angry too, part of it that my dad wasn't there, but that Coach Barnes was that thing that settled me and had like one of the best games ever in like youth football my whole career, and just for him being a stable force. So I mean, it was nothing for us to just go to the rec and to be at the rec for just about anything. Like, we used to play tackle in the snow at
Mhm.
at the rec. It was just, and just the coaches. I mean, Coach Yancey was from my block. Miss Yancey, I still talk to Miss Yancey, who's still on Temple Road. Just how connected everybody was. And just like I said before, there was people that didn't have sons that were football players or baseball players, or daughters that were cheerleaders or angels, but they were still at the game on Fridays. They were still at the game on Saturday. They were still like there. And that's just that just meant so much to me. I mean, being really honest, that just meant so much to me when I didn't have a lot of other sort of things to look at. Those men that were there, not getting paid anything to do what they were doing, was really important to me.
See, my memories of the schoolyard was me being a short, skinny kid and all that, but I was fast. Was my dad, same thing as you. My dad wasn't there. My mom used to come, but I didn't want to be a mama's boy. So, I used to act out and act crazy and all of that. But it was always the older guys who say, "I'm like, listen, man, calm down. You really got something special into you. Like, take your time and figure out what it is. You don't got to do negativity to be seen. Like, your actions actually is what makes us pay attention to you. Even when we're not playing sports or we just sitting around talking or whatever. And I may be sitting there lunching, not paying attention, or something goes on, the guy come up and be like, oh, that's how you gonna be. Every time something happens, you're just gonna sit there and be quiet. So now that I know somebody's watching me, I'm hands on with everything that goes. And I don't want him to say that to me next time that opportunity presents itself. So my eyes is swirling. I'm watching everything that happens. It's like you get so much confidence in I don't even know what to say. It's like when you're in an environment where somebody's watching you, trying to give you the best in life. It's like you perform to your highest. That self esteem
Yep.
goes up to the moon because you got somebody that you have to impress. Like that's what the schoolyard does to kids to me. Like, yeah.
And we was seen. We was seen back then and listened to. And that's one thing that Dirk was saying, that Coach Barnes saw him and he listened to him. You know how we always say it takes a village to raise a kid. I heard this guy. I listen and look at podcasts, including Everything Philly.
Better.
I listen to podcasts all the time. And I heard this guy say once before, we talk about this village. And these kids want to be a part of the village. But if they don't feel like they're a part of that village, guess what they do to that village?
Tear it down.
They burn it to feel the warmth.
Yeah. Yep.
They burn it down to feel the warmth.
I heard that before too. Yep.
So, I mean, and that's what we're seeing. That's what we're seeing every day right now. These kids burning villages down to feel the warmth. And that warmth is so someone can see them. And if we don't see these young people, then all we're going to do is witness the villages being burnt.
What you think the next generation is going to be?
Oh, man, I don't even want to think about that.
Well, y'all were at the game, the scrimmage.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all saw the kid, and I was talking about the kid. I'm not going to say his name, but like I said, this is a kid that came to, he don't even live in our neighborhood. But he came because of what we were doing at Ivy Hill and just that we accepted him and saw him. But the coach last year, we had to talk with his parents and he had to apologize. This year, the coaches don't want him. But the problem is, again, he's that very kid. He not with us. He ain't gonna last 3 years out there. He not gonna. I mean, Ty remember us talking about, because Ty that's on the board of Ivy Hill, was us talking about a kid that we had that fell a little bit out of football, and the only people, like, we had started posting about him, trying to find him. That kid that was missing went missing. Then next, he's popping up somewhere with this one. Somebody saw him with a gun. Someone saw him this place. Someone saw him this place, and like I can and it just was that. Again, once he was sort of off of football, he just off of not, and it maybe wasn't even football. It was just being at the rec. He was just lost. And I can remember, this is a kid that I would drive home and we talking about cryptocurrency. And he always in trouble. We talking about, stocks and all this other stuff. What do you want to do in Forex and all of that stuff? But it was one of those things, and it was, we was hunting for him and everything like that. But it's just kind of like Ty was saying, it just takes a village, and I think that we sort of need to bring the adults and the people that remember how this was back, because what happens also is they almost sort of like Lord of the Flies, man. If it's a group of them, they gonna just do what they do. They gonna not no direction. They gonna just do what they do. And they gonna follow the loudest one that he has no idea what he doing at all anyway. And they gonna just follow them because it's a vacuum. There's nobody else to have that conversation with him.
So that comes down to the staff. Like when you put the staff together, you have to bring people that's in it for the passion, not for the paycheck. When you put a bunch of people together for a paycheck, you're gonna get just what we have right now.
Yeah.
People that don't care about these kids, they don't see them, they don't hear them. They just tell them what they want, not understanding what the kid need. And next thing you know, they're gone because you don't even understand me. You're not listening to nothing I have to say or what I need to do. Like
Yeah.
you expect the kid to be what you want them to be.
Yeah. Most of the
without even
kids
knowing
think that coaches, like these days, most of the kids think that coaches get paid. They almost can't fathom somebody coming up there for them just to support them. Not alone spending your money, but just that you don't get paid to do this. They totally don't even get that. They don't even sort of understand that, because nobody really, in some eyes, they think maybe a teacher, but nobody else would give them any energy or even pay attention to them unless they got paid for it.
Okay, that's understandable too, but still, just because you're not getting paid doesn't mean that you're a good person. You're doing it for a
that's
passion.
true.
You could be
Right,
doing
right.
it just for the power, just to be able to tell somebody.
Yeah.
At
That's
the
true.
scrimmage,
That's true.
I seen one of the coaches in the
Yeah.
middle of the field smoking a cigarette.
Yeah, it's
Like,
not good.
What
Not
good is that?
good, not
Like,
good,
come
not
on,
good.
really? Like you're teaching my
Not good,
kid
not good.
a fundamental when you're also showing him a negative. Like, come on, let's get it together. If you're going to do this, let's do it because the passion you have that you would want for your own self.
Yeah.
Like,
And you know what some of the time that is too? Is and you're absolutely right. There's sometimes you will have coaches and people that volunteer, but they're not in a correct space. Like they want to come up and mentor, but they actually need a mentor.
they need a mentor.
Yeah.
And to be totally honest, I've talked about this with Todd sometimes. He know from the board meetings, there's coaches that I had to suspend because again, and I mean, even to the point of like financial management, all that stuff. But there are coaches that they never got that, and so they want to help, but they don't have all of the tools to be able to help, and some of them are earnest about it, but they don't kind of know any better until you have to pull them aside and say, that's not what you're supposed to be doing. That's not what you're supposed to be doing. And that sort of thing. And so I absolutely hear you with that. I really, in some ways, I find it like that it's gotten to this point that it's hard to turn somebody away that want to volunteer their time. But you're absolutely right, is that some people can do more harm than good, especially if they're not in the correct headspace to be able to mentor a kid that's looking at them, or a mom that's looking at somebody to help them raise their young man, because that's what a lot of times what happens up there.
So from that same scrimmage game, I seen parents that's out there acting a fool.
Bruh.
Like, we need adult daycare to go along with these classes and programs, like teaching people how to be a parent.
Some of
You
these
understand?
kids ain't the way they are by mistake. They are not.
Do you have parent meetings like prior to the games? Do you have those meetings?
We have a coaches and a parents code of conduct. Todd remembers sitting in on an emergency Zoom meeting of the partnership that we had with Oakland, Uptown United, of moms fighting at the field, at not our field, but at that field, because for some reason, I don't know why, a lot of the more mature, let me not say, let me step back, because parents are,
Yeah.
but I'm not gonna go down there. But it was fighting, one hit one with something, and a gun was pulled by a brother that came up and all, and his kids still on the field playing. And so we not only was a coach suspended, like asked to leave for the remainder of the season, but we had to suspend some kids, some kids, and the reason we had, which is horrible, you had to suspend the kid because it was the moms that was doing it, and you can't say the mom can't come to her kid's game. You at a public field,
Right.
she could show up when she want to show up. So we had to let the kid go, even though there was coaches like, yo, I'll pick the kid up and bring the kid. But it came to, somebody else on our board as a judge, and they was like, liability, you can't be responsible. You gotta send the kid out. You gotta take the kid, which is unfortunate. And
Well, that's why programs need to be in place
Yeah.
for that as well.
For
Like when you
adults
start
as well.
when you start making programs that make people feel valuable or
Mhm.
appreciative, then you get a different outcome. Like
Yeah.
just because a kid is playing for a sport, sometimes the mom or the dad might be sending that kid there just so they can have their own time, their
Yeah.
getaway time.
Oh yeah.
But you start making them come to different. Maybe we don't have practice on Thursday, but we have this program over here on Thursday, and it don't have to be something that's a bad program. It could be a fun program that bring everybody, the team and the parents together to appreciate what's going on, to make the parent understand what the kid is going through and make the kid understand what the parent is going through. Like your behavior reflects on your child. The child behavior reflects on the parent. Y'all have to understand that as a family. You understand what I'm saying? So we need to do programs like that as well as everything. Like the schoolyard is where it's at. The rec center
Yeah.
is where it's at to bring everything together. But we got to put the right programs in place. Now I understand that funding may be a problem when you got to get the staff together, but when you have a full schedule of programs and good things that's going on in your rec, that money should have to be there because now you got a community that's going to back you up. And guess what? When it comes to these politicians, when they know that a whole community is in that, they know that affects the voting process.
And the parents speak highly of the program that's going on.
Yeah.
Is that helps push it? Like I'm literally on my phone filling out for a grant now, for the organization, one of the nonviolent grants, because there's money out there, but the problem is that there's a lot of huge organizations that get some of that money, and they have to
have to become
filter
one.
it down.
We have to become a huge
But as
organization.
long as we become it, and that is part of what one of the ideas of and not to try to sort of bring it back to the football, the partnership, because I know, but is to bring the community together, is to make us way larger than what we are alone, even though every piece of the community could still be who they were, but to bring all of the youth organizations under a umbrella that is Uptown. However, you got still the Saints, you still got the Wildcats, you still got the Bantams, you still got the Raiders, you still got all these other teams that are all a part of what is Uptown, but they still are able to look at themselves as a united organization, as they are all like brothers and under a partnership between each other, and support each other. We're not really necessarily playing each other. We play in other areas and other organizations, but we're just sort of bringing the community together for us to really do. Because I mean, totally being honest, there's areas that are doing that, but not in the way that we're doing it, or just doing it and swallowing them up. Again, I'm not going to just leave it to football and football teams in, but there's super teams in North Philly. There's super teams in West Philly. They just super teams, and they don't say like that they're all the different areas, west, southwest, blah, blah, blah. They just, everybody goes to that team, and they just that team, but they a super team, and they have trouble finding competition because they got all the kids from all the surrounding areas. And we just trying to do that and still keep the historic identity of like all the organizations that was uptown. There was Weiser, Ivy Hill, and and all of that sort of thing. So
Yeah, but one thing we can't miss here is, and you're from Ivy Hill, so of course you're going to talk about football. But one thing we can't miss is those young people that may not want to come and play football, may
Mhm.
not want to come and play basketball, may just have a love for numbers and money. Like, with Cherie's program, when she had the program, jumping, and they love that. So uh, uh, one thing that we can't do is talk too much about
Sports.
everything. No, not just sports, but everything that helped us in the past, because mentoring young people today is completely different than when people had to mentor us. You know what I'm saying? Because they have now social media, they have access to everything on their phone. So we're going to have to be extremely creative on the way that we mentor, and also on the different programs that are introduced to them. Go ahead, Sharice.
No, go
I
ahead.
saw you. Go ahead.
That's what makes Philly I Am so unique and different, because that program is based off of the participants' passions and dreams. I don't create anything for them but the structure of the program. But as far as their desires and what they want to do and what they want to create and what they want out of the program, it's solely on them. Um, they come up with their own entrepreneurship ideas based on what they would want to do. And the question that I ask them is, what do you want to wake up and do every single day of your life and be happy with it? And they come up with all types of ideas, and I make sure that they fulfill it. It may not be a boosting business, but they learn the marketing side, they learn the
Right.
financial side, they learn about how to do market analysis, how to create a business plan, and then how to do the work. They create their actual merchandise themselves, their prototypes themselves, and then they market it themselves, and they sell it, and they keep the money. And that's the biggest motivation for kids, because I'm doing something that I like to do, and I'm
and I'm
making
getting
money.
paid for it.
Yeah.
Well, I think the more important question is, the most important thing about your program is you ask them who they are.
Yes.
Like you help
Mm.
them build their identity. Like most of them, they come in there and say, "Oh, I'm Rob. Rob who? Rob on Mitchell Avenue."
That's the day one. I asked them who they, why are you, well, first of all, the program is Philly I Am, and they don't get it. So I asked them, who are you? I'm so-and-so. That's your name. I still don't know anything about you.
Right.
So we have an icebreaker. Tell me who you are without telling me who you are. And they have to use like an adjective or something to describe who they are that can tell me about them outside of just their name.
And that
And
goes on
that's
from
how
week to week to week. And by
and
the
we
end
build
of the
on it.
sixth program, they got a bold definition of who they are. And I think that's the most important part
That's
of
the
your
most
class.
important. Yeah.
Because
Mhm.
they have identity now.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
they are somebody bigger than their name.
And guess what? They have a responsible, caring adult that also know who they are. And you know how much pride they would take in that. And then they want to now show other people who they are.
Mhm.
And it's not going to come out in a negative way.
Right.
So that was strong. That was
Listen,
strong.
I listen to.
That
I
was
mean, I
strong.
ride around with this lady right here. Like, sometimes I
Mhm.
don't want to, but sometimes I do. But I'm forced to do it anyway.
Whatever.
All in all, but I see these kids from the program, bro.
Mhm.
I see these kids running up to the program, and they don't.
Mhm.
Hey, Sharice, they don't do that. Hey, Miss Johnson, they don't do that. Hey, Miss I Am,
Yeah.
when you start another program, and I'm like, that's joy.
Yeah, we miss
That's
it. We
joy.
miss it
Yeah.
up there.
Yeah.
We
That's really
we
joy.
I
miss
still
it.
get texts. I still get text
We
messages.
miss it up there.
Yeah.
Like, what are we gonna do next?
We
What's
miss
the next
it.
thing?
For those times we miss it. I'll say that. And those are the sorts of things. And it's and I think like you were saying, Todd, it's different
Yes.
for them. And I don't remember having anything like that when I was at the rec, but I think that we got it in other ways.
Oh yeah.
But we definitely got it.
Yeah, we got another
But I
one.
think
Yeah.
that right now it's needed for them because they're not getting it any other way.
No.
They're
And
being
it's
heard.
something that they really really need.
They being heard,
Yeah.
and it makes a difference. It's like, but you can't take on a project like that for so long out your own pocket.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
right.
That was a killer, but it was a passion that she had. So she was making the sacrifices. Like, can't get your hair done this week, can't get your feet done this week, can't go buy that pocketbook, can't go to dinner. But she was making those sacrifices because she really care. So these are the programs that we need to instill in McCluskey. We need those programs in there so the kids can feel valuable.
And that's why you need the other responsible bodies, because you get burned out.
Yeah.
And like it you just get burned out if you feel like you're doing it all your own, all yourself.
No, I don't think that. I don't think
No,
that.
I mean just in general, that when you do a program and you're doing it and there's not a lot of like support all around to help the days that you aren't like at your best, to be able to fall back on, or even if it's financial support, is that it becomes really overwhelming. And I can see how people can say, like, again, people have their own lives and be like, man, I'm worn out. This is a lot. This is even though it is so needed, to just say, I need to take a step back from it for a minute.
I'll have to disagree with
Yeah.
you on that one, because I watched this young lady. I watches her. Like, she comes from work and goes straight to that program, don't eat, don't sleep, don't do nothing, because she get a joy out of seeing responses from those kids.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
the
like a
only thing that
second
burned
one.
her out was the fact that she don't have
couldn't
the
pay 'em.
money.
Well,
to
that's
continue to
what I'm
do it.
talking about.
But
is that-
far as if she could do it for free for the rest of her life, like, that's what she would do.
Oh yeah. But I mean, that's part of what I mean, is that just dealing with not only setting the program up and doing the program, but the financial side of it, because all this stuff takes money.
Mhm.
Every time it takes money. Everything takes money. Like all of the programs. We start a referee program that takes money, because you can't really charge the parents because they don't really have it. But that's the part that I see, and even from my experience, is that with that money thing, that I have to sometimes make sure that even with my family and be like, cool. Sometimes I won't say what I'm spending, because they'd be like, no, that's stopping, or whatever the case. And so, I mean, just again, as a community, as a village, to show their support, because it might not be that right now Sharice needs $100 for the program. She might just need somebody to get a hoagie platter, or to get this or to get that. And those are the things too, when people are willing to say, hey, what you need, and give you something that even
Mhm.
gives you more energy to be like, yo, okay, they with me on this. Let's go, for that. And that's why we need, not just on the volunteer side, and you're right, but on the monetary side, because you don't want to get programs like that where they aren't properly funded, and to have them sort of fade when they're really, really needed.
Last thing, because we get out of here because time's running out.
Yeah, we talk
I think
all
that
day.
if it's kind of hard to get money from the government. It's kind of hard to get them grants, because especially when you're a new started program, like you said, they give it to the big heads, and then the big heads do what they want to do with it.
I don't know what to
But
do with it.
if you get the whole community behind you, if the neighbors understand what you're doing and is a safe haven for their kids, for their community, because when you got control of the kids, that means there's less violence and crime going on in the neighborhood.
Without a doubt.
So if the neighbors see all this going on, if we put this program together the way we're supposed to, then I think a lot of the funding can come from events that we do in the schoolyard and getting donations, or even if you have events where you have to pay to get in or whatever, if it's all for a good cause, I think you can still do a lot of the programs that we want to do. But we have to get started. We have to get our feet on the ground and put the team together that's going to fuel whatever it is we got to do at the rec.
Yeah.
So this is our start, and I'm glad you came up here today for your participation, because it shows that a willingness for McCluskey to say, let's go, let's do this. So I
Yeah.
appreciate you. And you too, Mr. Todd.
Oh
Thank
no,
you.
thank you, and
Definitely
thanks
need yours.
for everything that you have spearheaded so far.
Yeah.
Getting people that we normally wouldn't think that was ready to come back and,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
volunteer. So thank you for that.
Wonderful.
Definitely necessary.
Yes, guys. Thank you again for visiting us. It was a pleasure. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, it's been real. Please don't forget to like,
Subscribe,
share.
comment. Don't forget about your money hunt.
Yes. Stay tuned. Continue to watch our episodes. We do have that treasure hunt that's going to be coming soon. I think we have a $500
Prize.
prize on the line. So continue to watch. More details are going to be coming up soon. It's a really fun and unique opportunity, so you don't want to miss it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.